The next pledge of support comes from Ambassador Patricia Flor, Director General for International Order, United Nations and Arms Control at the German Federal Foreign Office. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Thank you, Minister Jaba. It's my pleasure to be able to participate in today's event of the launching of the African Women Leaders Network. Let me first of all welcome this new initiative by the African Union and UN Women. Certainly, when I look at Africa, I think we should all pay tribute to the progress already achieved in promoting empowerment of women and gender equality based on the Beijing, Women's Conference of old and the plan of action of that. And I have to acknowledge that, for instance, African women, in terms of political participation, in some countries are doing better than Germany does. Just to say that, of course, in Rwanda, we have 60% parliamentarians female, and in Germany, we have currently 37. So we are strong, all of us, but we are stronger together. And so therefore, if we want to translate, the progress made into lasting and consistent influence of women in decision-making in all areas, we have to stand and support each other. And so therefore, I found today's event and also the conference most valuable in looking at the question, how can we as women push together for transformation, for peace? In order to reach sustainable peace and security, women need to have the possibility to participate equally. That was also the result of the UN Global Study on implementation of Resolution 1325. And let me add that, of course, that was also a child of Namibia, this resolution, when it was adopted in the year 2000. And of course, there are remarkable examples of this. For instance, Liberia, where it was the women who had the greatest influence during, the negotiations, thus contributing to a more sustainable peace process. And of course, there is the other side to this, and Minister, you mentioned this, that of course in many of the conflicts on the African continent, the number of civilian casualties, but especially also the number of victims, women and children, it's disproportionately high. And one has to say that also very recently, many of the events that we saw included systematic rape as a war tactic. So again, the women being targeted specifically in these situations. So also we must, come together to improve the protection of women and girls from violence, and we must also end impunity for the perpetrators. Or let us look at the issue of the economy. Of course, we all know, and actually that's true, I think, also beyond your region, that women carry the main burden of work in these situations. And very often it's most difficult for them to get the financial support, the loans, the microcredits, in order then to be able to support their families. So therefore, sustainable economic development, it requires women's full participation in economic life. And we all understand that, again, network connections are crucial for this, for women entrepreneurs. And I know that some of you today are actually coming from the business sector. And equally important, of course, women and girls' access to education. To empower women and girls in order to play these important roles in all spheres of life, they have to be able to access education. And so I note that, of course, this is one of the objectives of the Africa Agenda 2063, but also of the Agenda 2030. Let me say that under 1325, Germany is part of the focal point network. We will also invite to Germany for a next network meeting in 2018, and I would look forward to meeting many of you there. So therefore, Germany is proud to support this initiative by the African Union and UN Women. And I'm deeply impressed by the number of women leaders, presidents, around the table today in this room. So here, therefore, is my commitment, and it is a very simple one on behalf of Germany. The commitment is that, as Chancellor Merkel did when she convened women leaders in Berlin, as G20 president, Germany will be with African women and with Africa in a spirit of North-South female solidarity in this women's network. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Ambassador, for this very, very strong commitment and for your offer of partnership on this endeavor.